Okay, hello. There's garbage trucks just about done, so forgive that, please. I hope. We always do a bow to start the class. So that was a bow to establish respect and gratitude for each other to train with, even if it's online. It's still a community thing, and that's a very important part of it. But we also turn to the side, and all we're doing is turning to the right. And we're going to do another bow, and then this bow is to remember to have gratitude for the knowledge that's being imparted, because I am not the author of this knowledge. I am just a person who happens to have been lucky enough to find it. So I'm going to stand with my feet right below my hips, and I'm going to put my thumbs together here. I'm going to cross my fingers, put my thumbs in my belly button, and let my hands come down to here. This is the center of my body physically. From the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, it's the center, right? So I'm going to let that center sink down by bending my knees. I'm going to push the top of my head up, and I'm going to breathe so that when I breathe in, my stomach expands, and when I breathe out, my stomach pulls in. But not with any real tension, just with a natural, smooth, like water, rippling breath in and breath out. Breath in and breath out. Now, that's the center point of all the movement, is that breathing. So for the rest of the class, the best of your ability, keep breathing on that. Take your left foot now, though, and step forward with it, and make sure that your feet are still the width of your shoulders, the width of your hips, right? And now when you breathe in, I want you to push your weight all the way to your right foot. And I want you to put the weight of your right foot down strongly, and then push forward to your left foot as you breathe out, and put your weight down strongly to your left foot. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, as you breathe in, and you're moving to your right leg, make sure you're moving back onto your right leg, turn your stomach to the right. And as you breathe out, bring it back to the front. So now we're turning to the side and pushing forward. Breathing in and breathing out. And very carefully transferring the weight. This is a really important part of the training. Is I'm being aware that 100% for a moment in time, 100% of my weight is on this foot, and then that 100% transfers over and becomes 80% and so forth down till 100% of my weight is on this foot. So that transfer of the weight is really important. Now, take your right hand, think about your right hand, and the right foot is the back foot, and let it move away from your belly and just pull back with your body and go forward with your body. So it's moving because the body's moving, not because you're moving your arm. And now we're going to extend that motion. So what the elbow is going to do is it's going to come up and forward, and then it's going to come back across on a horizontal plane, and then forward again. Forward and back. Forward and back. Now, relax your shoulder. Make sure there's no tension there, so that this movement is like a gentle massage to those muscles. And you should be able to get a little bit more rotation out of the shoulder. As long as it stays relaxed, bring it up and past the ear and down. Forward, up, past the ear and down. Relax the shoulder, but don't let tension build. Keep turning, all the weight on the back, all the weight on the front, all the weight on the back, all the weight on the front. Breathe in breathe out. In, out. One, in, out. And then bring your foot back, feet together. And here, and this is called we call this a cleansing breath. So you breathe in, your hands come out. You reach all the way above you. And then you breathe out and you pull down. And you push down and you go all the way to the floor. And then you breathe in and you bring your hands up. And then you breathe out and you push up and lean back. And then shake it off. So there's quite a few steps to that, but we do this every class and everything gets easier as you keep doing it. Now, put your right foot forward. Shoulder width between the feet. Make sure of that. That's very, very important. If I put my feet like this, I'm not very well balanced. I need to have, like any structure, a bit of stability laterally this way, okay? And then remember to hold your hands on your belly, center. And now breathe in and bring all the way, weight back to the left foot. Bring all the way forward to the right. In and out. So this is where you get to really focus on the flexation of the muscles in the leg and the hips, and making sure that you can sort of activate them and well, flexate them. So be very aware. Push, like you're pushing down as hard as you can. And push. So that means that if you really got those muscles, awareness into those muscles, you're mindful of that. As you push back, you can spin. I can rotate out. I can tie into that fundamental movement and make it more dynamic. And if you have, let's say, activated those muscles of the lower body, you're aware of them, don't overflexate them. Just make sure that they're completing their movement one side to the other. Just like we did before, we take this fundamental movement and we add more complexity, but it's all built in a balanced, proportional way. So the body structure works. So the first thing is just the hand moving away from the body on the left, so that the turning of the hips and the shoulder can pull the arm around, but there's no tension or strength in the arm. It's just being pushed and pulled like it's in the wind. So that gives you a sense of the relationship between the torso and then the extremity, at least to the elbow. And now accentuate that, add to that a little bit, extend the elbow forward and pull back. Extend the elbow forward and pull back. So you're just adding to what's already there. You're not creating a new movement in any way. And now bring the arm out to the side and back. So it comes down, up, and horizontally across. And then maximum dynamic up past the ear and full circle. Breathe in and breathe out. Transfer the weight completely from one foot to the other. And then come back. Feet together, cleansing breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Around your hips and push down. around your toes, breathe in. And then push up from the center of the chest and open. Good. Now, so these movements here, or just this, are moving the center, right? So we said that when we put our hands here, we're bringing our awareness to our center, which is physically the center of the body. And then, once we start moving that spot around, there's, I was saying layers of dynamic, but what happens is the limb extends out from the torso, and you get the rotation of one joint, the rotation of another joint, and then finally the rotation of the wrist. We haven't got to the wrist yet, but we're going to do that now. And I want to bring up a concept and then do an exercise and we'll stretch. So the concept is this. There's a very important point on your hand and a very similar important point on your foot that have a relationship together. Because the hand and the foot, or you even say the arm and the leg, have very similar structures overall. There is quite a bit of difference in detail, but fundamentally they're very similar. So if you take your hand and you make a fist, and you make a fist by clenching your fingers and then squeezing them in, and put your thumb across those two fingers. Where your middle finger is pushing into your palm, here, is a point called lao ga. Now the term I'm going to use in English is going to be the hand mirror. The mirror, like you imagine a little mirror on your hand. Now that point correlates with a point on the foot. This is essentially the same spot behind the pad of the toes right there. So this spot and this spot connect. And what you want to do is you want your movement to be a connection for those 2 points, and you want to feel it, experience it ultimately to whatever degree you can, and as what they would call the reeling of the silk. Silk being just reference to something extremely soft, because it energetically, it's not a tangible thing. It's not like you can touch it. So silk was the reference, but it's the reeling, the spiraling of the silk. And so we're going to take this idea of doing this movement, right, with the elbow, and do it as a silk reeling exercise. So put your feet out fairly wide, wherever you're comfortable. Take your lower back, straighten it by pulling it up and up, so your lower back becomes straight. Push the top of the back of the head up, and think about your center aligning evenly to either side, and you're rooting down onto your feet, and you're pushing down into the spot on the foot, which is called kidney 1. But you're thinking about that spot on your foot and pushing into that spot. And now take your hands here and imagine in front of you a large rectangle, upper point, lower point, upper point. And take your left hand, and put that spot I was talking about on the hand at the corner of the upper left-hand part of the rectangle in front of you. And now you're going to trace that rectangle. But because your body is built by nature, doesn't have straight lines, it's going to curve around each corner. But you're still going to visualize the rectangle, okay? So the hand drops. And now it moves across from bottom to bottom corner. And the palm, thinking about this spot, rotates as it crosses the center. And then, facing to the front, it climbs up and gets dragged back across, out to the front, across the eyes. It gets back to where it started from, and then at this spot, rotate and come back to center. And you always come back to a moment where you're still, you're calm, connecting to peace. Now, that's the movement of the hand. Take a moment, you can put your hand down for a second just to listen. By putting awareness into different parts of your body, you will be also allowing the energy to flow if you want to get into the energetic concept. But awareness is what matters. So just take a moment and become aware of your center here, what we call the center, the lower stomach, this area of your body. Think about it. By thinking about it, so all you need to do is the awareness. Now take that feeling of that part and push down into the front part of your feet. So each foot is pressing forward and down to that point I was talking about. And now bring your hand back up. And now when you move from the foot first, but drop it. And when you move across, move from the foot first. And that has to come through here to get to there. So the hand is the last point of the movement. The lower body pushing into the ground creates everything. The lower body pushing into the ground makes it all work. Breathe in, and breathe out. Now try to do a couple of them on your own. Finish the one you're doing. Move your feet together. Standing cleansing breath. 1. And just push down and out. 2. And 3. And then we got to do the other side. Step out again. Bring the right hand up. And think about the rectangle. Think about the connection from here to there, to the feet, and then out to there. This time though, also add in this in your mind. Don't look at any specific thing in the room. Don't look at the camera you're watching. Don't look at it specifically. Look at what's called the peripheral vision. As you do the movement, that's what you're looking at. Your eyes are tracing periphery, not specific anything, okay? Go ahead. A couple more on your own, please. Finish the one you're doing and then come up, shake it. Good. So that's our warm up, but also an introduction to a bunch of the movement principles that we work with. We'll do a quick stretch and then get into actually training Tai Chi. Although everything is training Tai Chi. So put your feet out and sink down, hands on your knees, and just sort of shift the weight side to side, relaxing and allowing your hips to warm up to a stretch. We're going to do a stretch for the lower body. Now, point your feet forward. Bring your arms down so your elbows are into your knees, and push your hips down and push your knees out. Put your fingertips to the floor and sink down even more, pushing your knees out. Bring yourself up. Turn to your left. Twist or turn your feet shift your feet this way to the left and push into a stretch. Now, to whatever degree you can, lean forward. Bring your weight forward, really push your right foot out behind you. Turn your heel up and your hips straight to the side and sink down again to whatever degree you can. And then shift your weight back to your right foot. Put the toes of the left foot in the air and sink down again as low as you can. Swing your hands down to the floor. And then bring your head up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Center, turn to the right, lean into the stretch. Lean in, bring your weight forward, push your left foot away as much as you can. Lean down if you can. And then turn, run a stretch. Heel up, hips to the side, sink down. Step back, weight on the left foot, right toes in the air, sink. Hands to the middle. Work your feet in. Straighten the back of your knees, stretch your legs. Breathe in slowly. Hands coming up the back of the legs. Breathing in, hands right to the lower back. Breathe out, push your hips forward. Come back to the middle, and then just circle your hips, releasing them from all that stretching. And the other way. Good. Shake it. So, I'm going to stretch the upper body then now. So, let me start with this. Hands just standing normally, hands to your side. And just take your shoulders up and back. Up and back. So this is really the same principle as the warm-up, where we're going to start with this, the one joint and go out to the other joints successively. So the shoulder leads to the elbow. And then the elbow leads to the wrist. And then slowly out and down. And now the shoulders go back and up and forward. Back, up and forward. And as before, elbows are connected next. And then from elbows to wrists, full extensions. And drop your hands. Now, over time, I get more detailed about this. For the moment, just imagine you're picking up about a 5-pin bowling ball. Something about this big, maybe the size of a small cantaloupe, I guess. And about here, hold it. So you feel that ball, you have it. Now bring it above your head. And I want you to smash it on the ground. Now the purpose of this, though, and relax for a second to explain it, is the purpose of this is to learn to relax enough that your body can fall and catch yourself and swing. So it's not about throwing yourself down, it's about falling and then at the end turning, okay? So bring your hands up above your head. You have that ball, that 5-pin bowling ball. Throw it at the ground by falling. 1, 2, and 3. And reach up. Reach up, reach up, reach up. Palms forward, look up, and tippy toes, high as you can. Extend your fingertips as high as they can go, looking up, stretching up. Bring your heels down, cross your elbow this way, pull in and twist around as far as you can. Back to the front. Other way, crossing the elbows, pulling one in close and twisting. And back to the front. Then we're going to reach up again, palms forward, look up, bring your weight to the front of your feet, push your heels up, tippy toes, high as you can. Stretch up, 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 up. And then bring your heels down, grab one elbow, pull the elbow behind the head. Drop your arms, bring your arms back up, switch elbows, pull it behind your head. Down, and shake it out. So we always finish the warm-up and stretch with what I call the wrist and neck stretch. So the wrist stretch, left hand up, palm forward, take your other hand and put it across your fingers, extend your hand out and pull your fingers back up and under towards your elbow. Don't hyperextend your elbow though, don't do that. Just keep it to a point that it's really about the wrist underneath here. And then bring your hand in, rotate the palm the other way, hands against the fingers, and push out again, same thing. You do want your forearm to be angled slightly downward, though, not here, slightly downward, and push back. Just don't overextend the elbow. Now from here, bring your hand into your center like this. Turn your palm as far as it can go around here, so your pinky finger should be facing you, and your thumb should be facing out. Take your other hand, put the fingers on the muscle of the thumb, and your thumb on the back of the hand, and twist the palm forward. It's always said to think of it as like a teacup. You're holding a teacup and you're rotating it forward. And then from here, notice my elbow is close to my ribs. My hand comes forward. I touch my thumb to my forefinger. And then once that's established, I attach the other three fingers, and I create a one surface across all of the fingers here, right? So it's flat, and I pull in, and this is called the crane's head or the crane's beak. And I'm going to take the side of the crane's head here, push it down under towards the wrist, and then over. So you should feel this on the top of your wrist. That's where you want that stretch. And then give it a shake. And then the other hand, fingers down, pull back. Fingers up, push back. In, rotate, fingers on the muscle of the thumb, thumb on the back of the hand, twist. Turn the hand, keep the elbow close, thumb and forefinger, other fingers, bend the wrist, grab, push down and out to the side. And give it a shake. Then put your hands on your hips, head up, back of the neck straight, turn side to side. Relax your muscles in your neck, feel the stretch. And then roll your chin down and look up. Roll your chin down and look up. and then look forward, and look up, stretching your throat. And then look down, stretching the back of the neck. And then circle your head around 3 times. One way, 1, 2, 3, other way. 1, 2, 3. All right, so that was the warm-up of the stretch. If anybody wants a quick drink of water, please go ahead, and then we'll continue. So, because anytime people are trying the class for the first time, any of the classes I teach for the first time, I always like to make sure that I explain the correct title to what I'm doing in a specific way to give a bit of context to the background and what the aim of the art is. So let's do that real quick here, and then we'll jump into the practice. So what I'm teaching is called Old Yang style Tai Chi Chuan. So what I will start with is Tai Chi, because that's the thing that is the most notable part of the title. Because that's why people come check out the class. They want to do a Tai Chi class. The rest of it's not very well known. So Tai Chi is actually a term that comes out of the Taoist tradition, where there's a recognition of sort of an ultimate achievement in expression, in terms of humans expressing things. Nature is achieving Tai Chi all the time because nature is nature. It's doing its thing just fine. So Tai Chi is then a human being's highest level of expression, because that mirrors the profound nature of reality to the highest degree in the context of this philosophy. So Tai Chi is the balance of all things in the universe, or the highest level of expression a human can achieve in an art, let's say. So Old Yang style. The family that developed Tai Chi and was really the root of where Tai Chi comes from is actually called the Chen family. The Chen family practiced this art without giving it a title and a name for many hundreds of years, but kept it secret to the family. It was a secret thing, and that's why the title never got given to it. But in the late 1800s, a guy named Yang Lu Chan became officially the first outsider to learn family art, and with that, he got permission to start teaching it publicly. And so, because he wanted to develop a name for himself, like anybody does in a business, he was doing public demonstrations, and he was going around and all this kind of thing. And one day, the story goes anyways, one day he was doing a public demonstration, and a person who was a well-known poet was attending the demo and said to him, "Oh, your art is the Tai Chi." And that became where the name stuck. So that's where you actually connect the old style, because it's related to Yang Lu Chan's practice of the art, but the one who got the title attached to the art, as far as the story goes anyways. So that's Old Yang style Tai Chi Chuan. Chuan, the last thing, is fist. And the importance of it in this context is Tai Chi Chuan, grand ultimate, highest level of expression, fist. The fist is referencing the martial arts. Now, this is really where it becomes fascinating to me, is in Chinese history, the martial arts are an embedded part, it's like part of the DNA of that culture for like thousands of years. It's an incredibly important part of their history. And so to give a title like Tai Chi, fist, to this art, looking back at that whole historical array of arts, is quite a thing. So it got given that name because it was considered the Tai Chi, the grand ultimate martial art. And I can't disagree. I've been practicing for a long time. It's quite an amazing practice. And I can only imagine what would happen if a person were to train it super hard for their whole life, and then another generation and another generation and another generation, and you get like 10 generations of people that have trained it their whole life. That would be an impressive feat. Anyway, let's start the practice this way. My feet are together, so my toes are touching, and my hands holding on to the dantian. The middle, it's called the dantian. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to meditate on the idea of center. So the idea of centered, which is connected to peace and calmness. And so my perception softened, my eyes softened, my ears softened. I relax my breathing. I breathe into the stomach and out without any tension in the muscles. And I allow my weight to push down into the ground while I push the top of my head up. So there's a dynamic tension that holds you in place from up to down. And this is where the Tai Chi emerges from. So the Tai Chi is the grand ultimate expression, emerges out of the void, they would say, or the Wu Chi, the thing that has no discernible title, the thing before things existed. And then out of that emerges Tai Chi. And that means you're going to shift your weight. So the first thing you do is you put your weight onto your right foot and you pick up your left foot because it's empty and it's light and it's easy to move it. And you step out shoulder width and then you put it back down. And as you put it down, you roll around the outside of the foot and come back to center. And as you come back to center, your hands fall to the top of your legs. And they want to be here. Now, let me just adjust the camera a little bit, show you. What you want to do here is you want to think of your fingers pointing at each other a little bit, not like this, but just a little bit, which is an extension of this posture. It just drops down. The connectivity is still there. And this is where you're prepared to engage in life, let's say. You're going to engage in some things are going to happen. You're going to start moving with it. You're going to start flowing with it. And that first part of that, though, is the perception. So I'm going to look forward. And I'm not going to look at any one thing. I'm going to look at the entire field of vision ahead of me. I'm going to see what's called peripheral vision. I'm going to see the whole room in front of me to about here, 180 degrees roughly. And then the first wave, and this part of the reason I have this picture here is to always remind everyone all the time, think about the movement of water, is going to come. And that wave is the hands are going to rise, the wrists are going to rise first, the fingers are going to be heavy, they're going to be pulling down against the wrist. And then the elbows are going to rise. And then when the top of the wrist is the top of the head, the elbows are going to fall down and in. And the wrists are going to linger so that they roll forward. And then you're going to pull into your center and squeeze your hands slightly here. So that's the first wave, rises and falls. And it's like you're holding your hands and you want to bend your fingers slightly, like the wave cresting over, right? It's just suspended there for the moment, okay? So the beginning again, from here, standing meditation, stepping out, drop the hands, and now look peripherally. And when you look peripherally, I should have said this first, not just visual, but listen all around you. Your ears can hear 360 degrees. So pay attention to every sound all around you without focusing on any one sound. And with all of that awareness opening in your mind, begin. Okay, now do that again on your own from here. Breathe and connect to the movement through the whole body. Good. Now, this sets up the rest of the form. And the form is, of course, what people generally think of Tai Chi as, is somebody in the park doing these beautiful, graceful movements. That sequence of movements is called the form. The form is it's a very long form. It's called the 108 movement form, but trying to distinguish what the 108 movements are is a little beyond me. Nevertheless, you learn one movement at a time. So that really was the setup. Now it's set up for you to really start getting into dynamic movement. So here's a couple concepts to start. And the first one I always say to people when they start is, there's absolutely no reason to be concerned about how much you get and how much you don't get in any given class, because nobody gets everything in every class. So don't worry about that at all. Just take it in, and over time it develops. So I set myself up to start to move. I'm going to move from my hips, I'm going to move from my center, and I'm going to move by pushing and pulling in my feet between the front of the foot and the back of the foot and the side of the, and all that kind of thing. So if everybody goes to here, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to move to your right, Okay, I'm going to turn to my right. I'm going to do that by pushing down and spiraling around on my left foot. And that means my right foot can come up. Okay. So I'm here and I push down and turn out, my right foot comes up. And now my hands, because they were here and they're moving with my body, have turned with me. Okay? So that's the first part of it. Now, you got to add one more layer into it. As you turn, your right palm is going to face you. So you're going to roll your right palm as you turn here. Okay? Now, this spiral sets up a movement that's going to come up the body, and you're going to feel it in your shoulders. Okay? So go to here, push down and spiral, and feel the dynamic in the shoulders, like a wave that's come up. And now it has to crash down. Once you get to a certain point up, you can't go any higher, it has to come down. So you're here, and the wave crashes down here, and you push down with your hands. So when I'm pushing down, I push down both hands, pinky fingers on the bottom. Okay? So again, rotate, the wave rises, the wave falls. Okay? Now, this process just continues for the whole thing. Up and down, in and out, side to side. So here's down, here. Now think about your right hand, where the hand is above the knee is above the foot, and there's an alignment between those three. Right? Now I'm going to turn, oh, I should have said this. Hold on for a second, let me explain something fundamental for everybody, for the new people especially. Think of a circle, and then divide the circle in half, and then in half this way, getting 4 directions in the circle, but then put that in terms of your spatial positioning. So I have a direction in front, a direction behind, and then 2 directions to either side, creating 90 degrees on each corner within a circle. And then I add a secondary set of lines in between each 90-degree alignment at 45 degrees, and I end up with 8 directions within the circle. Okay, that's a really important concept. I hope that makes enough sense. So if I'm facing this way, I have direction in front, 1, behind 2, left and right, 3 and 4, and then corner, 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 corner. That's really important. We have to work with this in all the movements. So hopefully that's understood. So I'm facing this way to start. I turn to the right, I bring my weight down. The next direction I'm going to turn to is the corner on the left. So here, I'll do this facing this way. So I'm here, I turn to the right, I push down on my right foot, and now think about the corner on your left, diagonally across the room, okay? So that's important. Okay, having said that though, we're here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the alignment from my foot to my knee to my hand, and I'm going to pivot on that alignment and turn to the corner as I raise my hand. See, like this. Now this is really important in this way. What it means is my weight is on here and it pivots from here and I can keep my back straight. There's no need to wobble around. If I try to do anything else, I'm going to wobble. Okay, so everybody go down to here. And now the right hand picks up as the body turns. The left foot becomes empty. And that means you can pull it in and then step forward to that direction. And you're going to push away with your right hand. Okay? So one more time from here. Turn to the right, just the right hand. 1, 2, 3. Step with the left and push away with the right. Okay? Now the left hand, as the right rises, simply traces the same line with it up. But at the point where the hand comes up, the right fingers are pointing up, the left fingers are pointing forward, okay? So if I was here, I pick up my hands and I turn, and now both hands throw away together. okay? So I think the feet there, you've seen the feet. Let's look at the upper body a little more. And here's what I want you to think about. Here. Yang Lu Chan, who was the founder of this style, was very famous for his spear work. He was really good with spears. And so when I do this movement here coming up, if this was a really heavy spear, it was really big, I wouldn't be able to do this because it would pull me down. What I want to do is I want to keep it close to me and bring it up along the side like this. Then my strength is more connected to my center. And so that's the same thing here. When I come up, I keep connected close to me to my center. You see how that's the same movement here, this? Okay, so from here, I turn to the side, I push down. And now think of something heavy, you're picking it up and throwing away. Okay, so how did that go for time? That was the introduction to the first movement. So every class we had a little bit more, and going from there. I want to jump into some more advanced stuff for the last part of the class for people that have had more experience and they're working on that. So in that context, just do the best you can. Don't worry about it at all. Have fun. We're going to just look at some other movements. I want to look at the sequence where you do the. I better just show you. I don't know how to explain it. In the third set, I'm coming from the end of the last cloud hands, and I reach out, and I come back, and I do this strike here. Okay. So if you go to single whip as the beginning point of this, looking to the left, remember that you have the width of your shoulders in front of you as a basis, right? This is this little square that you really focus in on as your basic fundamental center line that you control. So my left hand is along there. As I turn my body here, you see how my right side is becoming open? So I'm going to protect it by bringing the left hand slightly across here. And then the right hand comes in. And then there's a exchange through that center here, there. See how the two hands are controlling the center as that happens? Okay, so control the center. And then as you come in here, this one takes over, and then this one can come on top as this is pushing down. And you've never let that center line out of the way. Okay, so one more time. Now that's, let's say 3 blocks, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 2 across, because I could block twice. I could block a left or right and a left. And then I can come in and block again here, and then I can block again here. So it's really 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm here, my weight's pushing down on my right, and I'm going to rotate my hand down here. And I'm going to do that and mirror that. See how this movement rolls down and in? It's spiraling this way. Mirror that with your foot, and that turns you. Okay? So from here, I push into my foot as my palm rotates and down. And this is where I want to reiterate the idea of the silk reeling, the connection from that point on the foot to this point on the hand. Even from here, it's this pushing through those spots on the foot, right? 1, 2. And then here, 1, 2. And I push into kidney 1, and then I spiral into kidney 1 with my hand in concert. And then I'm pushing into kidney 1 on my left foot now the other way. And you're doing that throughout the form all the time. So let's go take one moment to look at something from the very beginning, and then we'll do the rest of the sequence there. And the more you pay attention to it, the more it'll show itself to you. You'll see more of it. So when we start the form, we step out with the left, and there's this rolling across the foot here, okay? What you're doing is remember we have this spot on the foot, kidney 1, right? Kidney 1 here, kidney 1 here. Now, kidney 2 is here on the outside of the foot this way. From there to there is 1 and 2. When I step out with my left foot here, I'm pushing down, I'm rolling out from kidney 1 to kidney 2 and back again. Okay, this is a spiral through the foot, this way. That's also here. There, right there is that rolling to the outside between kidney 1 and kidney 2. And that's going to happen throughout the form. So this is the more advanced thing I want to introduce today, is really getting deeper into silk reeling, is paying attention not just to the 4 points, the 2 on the hand, 2 on the foot, but now you know where kidney 2 is on the outside, and you know that that's going to always be the push and the pull, okay? So let's do the rest of the third set from that point, and that'll probably be the time we have today. So from here, think about those spots on the foot. Really twist and spiral internally. Twist and spiral. Feel it here. It's absolutely the same thing around the outside of the foot. Here too, same thing. Here, same thing. Here, that's all about that turn. It's all about that spiral. And finish. I think that'll do it. Yeah, more or less. Any questions? Well, I always feel like I throw more out than I even can track exactly everything I said. So I hope there was enough good stuff in there. Thank you for your time, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.